Welcome everybody to another CTC software webinar. My name is Sean Zerbis, Technical Evangelist here at CTC, and today we're going to be talking about View Creator out of the BIM Project Suite. We're going to go over a pretty comprehensive introduction as to what this tool can do for you, at least from a view creation point of view. So let's kind of just recap real quick here what the general introduction text is. And I'm just going to talk through this real quick with you. All of us, especially in the MEP and other engineering trades, the structural engineering MEP trades, we have to go through in project setup and respond to whatever the architectural team is doing in their projects. And architecturally, depending on what kind of projects we work on and what types of buildings we're designing, we often have to go through and do a lot of initial project setup very early. And a lot of this project setup is heavily dependent upon the views, especially floor plans in these projects. The more types of projects and different kinds of views we have to create, the longer that process is, especially when phases get involved, especially when there's schedule, creation and other types of things. This is all tedious. And in a lot of cases, some of this ends up happening throughout the project life cycle. And it gets done in different ways by different people. We're going to take a look at how View Creator can help both the startup and the ongoing view creation, especially for plan views, for many types of projects across the board using this one simple tool. We're going to take a look at 4 specific things, and some of this is going to take a little longer than others, but accessing, how do you get access to the View Creator within Revit? What it actually looks like on the interface. We're going to generate a bunch of floor plan views and a few other types of views en masse. And we are also going to take a look at how you can get your hands on the suite if you don't already own it. Throughout this entire discussion today, if you have any questions, I encourage you to just throw your questions into the questions window in GoToWebinar, and I'll be more than happy to try to answer them in line. We'll also take a look at some of the questions at the very end if they roll in a little later. But since I'm not big on death by PowerPoint, let's go directly into Revit and just take a look at this stuff live. Inside of Revit, when you're first opening up a project, whatever, the way that you can get access to this tool, as with most of our tools, is from the CTC Software tab. And over here to the far right on the BIM Project Suite is the View Creator itself. The View Creator, when I open it up, is going to have all the stuff that I need. But before I can actually do much with it, I need to be in sort of, well, I don't need to be, but I'm going to be in kind of a start from scratch project. So I'm going to use Hive real quick, a different tool that CTC offers, and I'm going to use it to give me a quick template file, a quick starter project that I can leverage that has all of the settings that I would normally use myself for kicking off a project, minus any views, because I don't know what kind of views I'm going to need. But I've just found my template and opened it up really quickly through the Hive interface. Now that I'm in here, you can see that I don't actually have really any floor plans other than the site plan. And what I'm going to do is actually kind of lay out a little bit about this building. I'm going to, let's see, we'll move these levels up a ways. Let's go up a few more. Move maybe a couple more levels up here. I'm going to take the second level and copy these up the building. Now, if I was an architect, this is my general process. I'll be copying levels around, laying out my general building design. If I'm an engineer, structural or MEP, I am probably going to be copying and monitoring the architect's levels from their project. And that's all well and good. I'm going to copy the word level here, so I have to keep typing that over and over. And I'm just going to fill in my names. 4th level, 5th level, and let's see, just a couple more here. Let's see, so 8 interior levels basically. 8 interior levels and a roof level for my building. We need to create some floor plan views to correlate with these levels. So how do I do that? Well, this is where the View Creator is going to come into play. I want to be clear, I've already got some stuff set up in this project that I can use. On my Plan and Ceiling tab here, you'll notice that I have a few view templates. You probably have more view templates in your template than I have in mine. This is just for example purposes today. But understand, if you had more view templates, you'd be creating a lot more views probably. In my case, we're still going to create quite a few views just on my view templates directly. Okay, in this area here, one of the things that I really dislike is when I go into a project and I see levels sorted alphabetically by the level name like this, right? 5th, 4th, lower, down here on the list, 2nd, 7th, 6th, 3rd. That is the silliest sort sequence ever. I mean, it makes logical sense because it's alphabetical, but the actual order of the levels is a little squirrely. So what I like to do instead is I like to associate an abbreviation with these levels that I associate with my view names. So for 3rd, I'm going to put 03, and for 4th, 04, and so on up the building, so that I actually have sort of a good prefix. That way, when I'm sorting these by the abbreviation, they show up in a proper order. And this abbreviation, in my case, from View Creator, will also get used for the generation of the floor plan view names out here in my project as well. So what I'm going to do is basically just check some boxes out here. I'm going to check the boxes for the levels. I also have view templates to the right of that with some abbreviations set up for them. And I'm going to check boxes for these as well. A code plan. If this was an existing building, maybe I would have some demo plans, maybe finish and general plans. Possibly I want to give my team some presentation plans. So I'm going to be creating 5 different floor plan types, all related to the new construction phase in my building. And the way that I name my views is I don't call it out as like, 07 floor plan new construction, right? I assume new construction in most cases. So I'm going to tell this tool not to put new construction as a part of the abbreviation at all. So while the normal names are going to go level and then view template and then phase, and if I really want to, I can reorganize this putting like view template first and then level and then phase or whatever you wanted. When it gets to the phase for new construction, it's just not going to put anything at all. So I'm going to add all these to a list, and you can see there's my generated list. Since this does have a demo plan, that's going to make me assume I probably will have some existing views where I wouldn't want existing demo. That would be kind of weird. So I'm going to add those to my list as well, and it'll give me a full-on list of views there. All I did was check a few boxes while I was talking, and this ended up generating for me 81 floor plan views in a matter of seconds. Here's the really cool thing about this. When I go take a look at these, like my general floor plans, they're all named exactly based on my rules. And they already have a view template associated to them. That's done, right? My finished plans, same thing. 00 through 07 in the roof plan, all of them have their appropriate view template associated to them. And if I take a look up in my project browser, this is all based on my template and how my view templates were set up. But in my project browser, I organize by phase since I do work a lot on existing buildings. And so I've got an existing phase and new construction phase. And then underneath that, I have my view types with whatever their view template abbreviation is here, like code plan, finished plan, whatever. And so I've got these different views, once again, 01 finished plan existing, associated to the existing phase. And the view template here is already set to floor plan finish. Not that I would have necessarily an existing finished plan, but this tool was able to generate the view for me in a matter of seconds. It built it based on my rule set. So this process of putting together rapid floor plans is really easy. Now let's go out here and actually generate some kind of a drawing. I'll go to the new construction floor plan. Well, I probably should do this in existing, but I'll do it in new construction for now. In this floor plan here, I'm going to generate some kind of building design. So since I'm working on the architecture side, I'm going to be drawing the building layout. If I was an MEP engineer, I'd probably be linking the architect's model and basing some of my layout on, well, all of my layout on theirs. But I'm going to copy this wing of my building, and I'm going to follow some rules of architecture here. Rule number 1 I've noticed in the world of architecture is you cannot just draw square buildings. You have to put them at some angle that lines up with nothing else in the world. So 6.64 degrees is perfect. It seems like to be an architect, you also have to have some kind of a curve on your building. So we'll kind of follow that rule here. And while I'm not going to model it, the 3rd rule is you have to have sloping glazing that's pretty prone to leakage. I think those are the 3 rules. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Don't get mad at me and leave. I'm just kidding. I'm doing this just so I have a reason to create some area plans. I would want to do something like enlarging this here as area A and then an area B plan over here, maybe C and D and E on this portion of my building. And if I'm the architect, I'm going to create these. If I'm the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural engineers, I'm probably going to duplicate whatever the architect has and steal their scope boxes if they're using them for the boundaries for my views. So what I'm going to do is create a scope box out here, and I'm going to give it a name. So here's my area A layout right here. Give this a name, area, if I can spell A, there we go. area A, and I'm going to copy this around a little bit. So I'm going to have a little bit of an overlap there with the area B, put area C down here, area D on that angled wing of the building. I'm actually going to steal the angle of that wing a little bit. Let's nudge this over a touch. I'm going to steal the angle of that building so I can rotate to match it so that I don't have to figure out what that angle is. And then just put the scope box up here and copy this down the wing of my building, again with a little bit of overlap. There we go. And the cool thing about scope boxes is that they automatically sequence themselves like grid lines and view numbers do, and room numbers. They like to be unique. In fact, scope boxes have to be unique. So it's doing that for me. I named these scope boxes. And again, if I was an MEP engineer, I would have stolen the architect's scope boxes, tabbed through and copied them from their project into mine, so that I can create all of my dependent views in my project based on them. Let's go through this exercise here. I need to create some master plan views. My normal workflow for creating master plan views would be to right-click each of the floor plans where I need a master, duplicating it, just normal duplication, maybe with detailing, but probably just a straight duplicate. And then I would change the scale for those views, and then I would come back for each of those levels of my building, each floor plan that's a master plan. Oh, sorry, duplicate and name it. Okay, I got to name them all as well. And then I would come back and duplicate each of those master plans as a dependent once per area of my building, and then name each one of those, and then associate the scope box. That's all kinds of fun, right? On this building with 160 base floor plans where I may want to have some kind of enlarged plan associated to each of those, that's going to take me a little bit of time. So what I'm going to do is leverage View Creator to effectively duplicate these views with rules. I'm not going to use duplication. I'm basically just going to generate a whole bunch of new floor plans that are the exact same floor plans I generated previously for new construction, suffixed with master or enlarged perhaps. Whatever you want to call it. Add those to my list. And if I cared about this for existing, I would basically do the exact same thing, add those, create my views. And what I'm going to effectively get now is 81 more floor plan views. This is where my 160 total views just comes in, 81 total views per base plans and master and large plans. So I've got all that done. You can see the big long list here of all those views listed out. All exactly the same properties, right? Same view templates applied. Potentially my scale changing if I want to change the scale. And now I'm going to come up here to my dependent views. And I'm going to do this only for new construction in this case, but I'm going to take all these enlarged plans right here, and I'm going to check all those area plan scope boxes. You can see the names out here. They align up exactly with the names of whatever I made in my floor plan. All those scope boxes up here, I'm going to basically duplicate each of them as a dependent, suffixing them automatically, since this is a dependent view duplication command here, with the scope box name. Super simple. Click Create Dependent Views. This is going to take a second. It's going to take, I don't know how many of them exactly, but duplicate each one of those as a dependent, give it a name, assign the scope box. And it just goes through and does this all for me so that I'm not doing this all by hand. If I start a project off by using this, or potentially if I'm doing this later on in the project lifecycle, I did not already, just for new construction, really have to go through and create over 300 floor plan views. I don't have to do that. It's already done. That saves me so much time because now they're all named. If I go down to the new construction area here, my finished plans for like my level 1 finished plan, area A through area D, it's already all taken care of. My general floor plans for level 1 floor plan enlarged, area A through area E actually. And if I want to go to area D, this angled wing of my building, and work on that in any of these enlarged plans, it's already got the scope box assigned. It's actually even rotated it square to my screen so I can work more effectively instead of here drawing whatever the walls are that I want for my building design, right? Back in my overall main floor plan, of course, it's going to have whatever it has, but it's taking care of all of this work. So I don't have to worry about doing all the basic setup. It takes me minutes to generate over, well, I think today already we've already generated over 400 floor plans. And if I wanted to do my enlarged existing plans as well, it would be well over 600 floor plans. Easily generated with naming standards the same way every single time. And this also means if you're trading people from one project to the another so that you can have people coming onto your project during crunch times, if your naming conventions are all consistent, you know they're consistent. because they're generated from a standardized tool, well, trading people from one project to the next is going to be a lot easier. And even working within your own project, because these names are consistent, that makes life real easy. What else can this do? Well, so far, I have these building elevations out here that are absolutely in the wrong place. Let's put these all in the right place. Have you ever needed to go through and create an existing set of building elevations? In this case, I've only got 4, but what if you had elevations facing each of these major walls around the building? If you needed to do an existing and a new building elevation for each of these, that might take you a while to create each one of those by hand. Well, I'm not going to stop you from creating the individual elevations on the exterior, but having to duplicate those for the extra phase, that can be a little tiresome. If I go up here right now and look at my existing set of views, I only have floor plans. What if I wanted to have those exact same building elevations with the exact same settings duplicated for the existing phase or for the new phase? Well, View Creator can help me with that as well. If I go to, where is it at here, elevation views, I can actually tell it for my elevations to duplicate, east, north, south, west, whatever, all these views for the existing phase. And when it creates them, you can now see I've got those elevations right there. It created those 4 duplicates in the exact same place with the exact same settings, but it basically now has the phase association for existing, and it suffixes those with the existing name, because in Revit, views have to be uniquely named. I didn't have to manually name each one of these. I've got my new ones, all with the basic east, north, south, west names, and now I've got existing suffixes on here. Saves me time, especially if I'd have had, I don't know even how many that would be, 16 different elevations going around this building. I can have it for existing and new construction. This also has the ability to help you work with your schedules. My project right now only has a single room schedule in it. But there's a lot of times when I'm dealing with complicated buildings with door schedules or furniture schedules or whatever, where I want to duplicate those schedules by phase, or I want to duplicate them by level. In the case of this room schedule, if I told this to duplicate per level, this will actually create for me, in this case, 9 schedules of room schedules over in my project browser that are all named based on the level that they are associated to. And if I'd already had level filtering built into there, it could also have filtered these for those proper levels, again, named based on the level. This one isn't using the prefix naming. This is using the actual level name, because this is also the schedule's name itself. So we want this to read out like it would on a sheet. Other things this View Creator can help you do. It can, as a BIM manager, help you generate a view, a 3D view for each work set with that work set isolated. I'm fully aware that in later versions of Revit, we have this little create me work set views option down here, which is pretty cool. Well, it doesn't make the views. It creates a sort of a filter on the view that highlights things of certain work sets. And that's all well and good. But from a BIM manager point of view, one of the things, or a project coordinator point of view, what I like to do is I like to actually create a 3D view with only a single work set shown inside of it. And so by checking these boxes, what this will do is actually make me exactly those views. Just check the views, click Create 3D Views. Down in my 3D Views list over here, those 3D views have been generated, and they isolate stuff of a specific work set. So if I was going to go take a look at something like the architectural elements here, I can see exactly what's on that work set. And oddly enough, my scope boxes are on the architectural elements work set because I wasn't being careful about where I was working. These probably should be on like my grid lines work set or something like that, some other work set. But I can actually very quickly isolate this because only that work set is displayed in this view. I want to take a step back for a second. There was a question that I saw show up here. It said, how are elevation tags being placed when duplicating elevations? What it does, if I go back to one of my floor plans in my my new construction view, is it effectively takes the elevation, the exact elevation with a tag, it copies it and pastes it in place, sets its name, and sets its phase. So it's not dropping a brand new elevation in and then setting all the properties. It's just copying and pasting exactly what's already there. So it's doing effectively the exact same thing we likely would do by me highlighting all of these out here and then doing a copy and paste align to same place. But it's also renaming each one of those and setting the phase for each one of those, which saves me quite a bit of time when I'm doing this around the entire building. So that can be a little easier of a workflow there. So what will happen then also, by the way, with those graphic tags is it doesn't show them on top of each other because the elevation tag itself will only show for the phase in which that is associated. There's only one tag right here. If I highlight just this, there's just the one view that's available and visible in new construction. And there's only one base tag down here, again, that's also visible in new construction because the existing tag now only exists in the existing phase. Okay. And that way there's no graphics sitting on top of each other, truly sitting on top of each other. If you really wanted to physically move them, of course, you could manually drag the bubble to a different position, but it doesn't matter because they're in different phases, so users will never see them sitting on top of each other. All right, back to a few more things that View Creator can do for you. Sheets and title blocks. If you've ever had the need in your project to swap out some title blocks for some other title block on certain sheets, maybe you've got like 11 by 17 sheets and some E-size sheets in the same project. When you create sheets by default, they just get a title block. Maybe you've wanted to repopulate certain title blocks across certain portions of the project with certain discipline-specific sheets. Well, I can do that very quickly through here. I can take a look at all the sheets. I can see all the title blocks that are currently in use on those sheets and make assignments to whichever one I feel is appropriate. When I process this, it'll actually go through and update some of those title blocks. Now, in my case, my starting title block should probably not be title block 1. That should be a different one here. So I'm going to update that guy. But if I wanted, say, all the rest of my title blocks in my project to be something else, I can reprocess that very quickly. I could also use select all instances and swap them that way. But sometimes I need to be a bit more surgical about that, where some sheets show certain things and other sheets show different things. My cover sheet title block is usually different than the main part of my other title blocks. So this has the ability for me to go through and be a bit more surgical, see where things are being applied, and then swap them out. There is the ability in View Creator to just straight up duplicate views. Hey, I want that code plan duplicated 7 times for whatever reason. Do a thing, suffix it with this, and then just go and tell it to duplicate that for my own purposes. I have that ability. I use this a lot for certain schedules, depending on what I'm doing. I'll use this a lot for, say, some of my presentation views or views when I want to create like options-specific views. I'll just take a view and duplicate it a few times for an option, and then I manually come back and name it. I might suffix it with option set such and such, and then in the actual view suffix give it, some specific name. But this is a quick way to work with those views. Instead of right-click duplicating 5, 6 times, I can do it faster through this tool. And I also have one final tab here, which allows me the ability to go through and see and manage my view template associations. So I can actually drag and drop between different view templates. I can see what's associated to what. So here's a list of my view templates that I have available. Down below here, you can see in my floor plan view templates, there's a bunch of code plans. There's a lot of the code plans, actually. And that's true of a lot of these because I've duplicated the views, both the base views, made enlarged, and have dependent views all associated with the same view template. But I can very quickly take these and either disassociate them from view templates en masse or drag and drop between different view templates en masse. But this is a great way of just kind of, as a BIM manager or even as a project coordinator, visualizing very rapidly what's associated where and reassociating things as appropriate. And finding views that are not associated to any view templates for that matter as well. So in the View Creator, there's a lot that you can do. Create plans, ceiling plans, structural plans, create elevation views, duplicating them by phase, making dependents, working with your schedules, work sets, duplicate views in general, and view template management all in one tool that's very user-facing and really helps to streamline a lot of the workflows that we do on a daily basis for just general view management. This can save hours upon hours of project setup. And all the views that I made today, if you were to do these all by hand, I am guessing it would take at least 4 hours to go through and make the views one by one and name them and set them up consistently, hopefully consistently, because in the real world, we have a lot of distractions that pop in and we're going to get pulled away. Sometimes for some projects, like MEP projects, I've seen it take up to 8 hours to create all of these views. And this way, you can do it so fast. Now, the View Creator tool itself does not handle the placement of views onto sheets. It creates the views themselves. I saw a question roll in about placing views on sheets. Keep posted for future CTC tools and future webinars. We actually have a tool that's in development right now that's going to assist with the sheet generation and actually templating out sheets. But this tool, View Creator, we just talked about today, this one is built around the concept of creating views, not necessarily the placement on sheets. So maybe you don't actually have the CTC Project Suite right now in your system, and you want it. So how do you get it? How do you get your hands on this tool set itself? Well, if you go to ctcsoftware.com, our website, on the products page specifically, if you drop down the little products page list, you can go to the BIM Project Suite for 2020. This suite will automatically install and work on all 4 versions at the same time, 2017 through 2020. You can download a 14-day free trial of this so that View Creator will work for 14 days, 100% fully functional. You can test this out on your projects and see if this is something that's meaningful for you. After the 14 days, the free tools will continue to work, but the paid tools will cease working unless you actually get some licensing. But I encourage you to get your hands on this suite, try it out for yourself, and see if it's something that you feel is meaningful. All right, so again, thank you all for your time, and we look forward to seeing you in future CTC webinars. Have a fantastic day.